Hello, folks. In the class this afternoon, somebody asked me to do an example of an adaptive sweeping generative shape design. And when I tried to do that, I realized that the dialog box that I had posted in my PowerPoint that you have access to is from a version of Catia that's about 20 years old. So it was quite a bit different from what I have in the computer system at the university. So what I promised was that I'm going to go home and do a video, a tutorial or a video on it, and then post it on the Brightspace. So here's what I'm going to do. Let me first draw a. Let me draw a sketch that I want to sweep it. So on that vertical plane, I will draw a profile, maybe something like that, nothing very complicated, maybe something like this. Why don't I do half a circle right there, and then maybe I go horizontally. So something like this. And I'm going to dimension. Notice that this automatically got dimension because this one of these icon is on geometrical constraint or dimensional constraint. This is on. When this is on, and you make something. Let me try something here for you. Let me do it. For example, rectangle. When I do this, automatically gets dimension. But if this is off, incidentally, and you draw something, it doesn't get dimension. You have to do it yourself. The choice is yours. So let me delete this. I just wanted to show you why it got automatically dimension. But anyway, I'm going to dimension this myself right there, right there. So this profile has some dimension. It's not completely constrained because it's not all green, but it's going to work fine. Now, then I'm going to do a guide. The guide does not have to be attached to this. Uh, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the horizontal plane and sketch something that's going to play the role of my guide. So what I'm going to do is for profile, for the guide, I'm going to use a spline, but on purpose, I draw it so that it's not tangent to this. Being tangent to that means that it's normal to the plane of that sketch. The sketch is back there. You can see that. It's right there. I don't want it to be normal. You'll see why it's going to cause a problem. So on purpose, the spline that I'm going to make, I'm going to start here. I'm going to go there and go, somewhere here. Okay, so notice that this guide is not normal to the plane of the sketch. The plane of the sketch is this vertical plane right here, which was, I believe, XZ, okay? And this is not normal to it. So let's try to do adaptive sweep. I go to the icon of adaptive sweep, you go to surfaces, the third icon from the left, there's two icons buried in it. One of them is adaptive sweep. You click on it, it says, where is the curve? Where is the guide curve? The guide curve is here, and it's going to complain. You'll see why. And where is the sketch? The sketch is here, and it's going to come back and say, hey, your spine, that guide curve, are different things, but in this case, they're the same because it's selected as my spine. Uh, they're not normal to each other. So here, you say, okay, I can't do that. Cancel that. I go back to that spline, and now I make a tangent. So I select this spline, control that vertical line, and I'm going to go to constraints with dialog box and tangent, shift it a little bit, and exit. And now let's try it. Let's try it now. So adaptive sweep, your guide, your profile, your sketch, and I say preview. You see, this spine is not a good spine because it causes the thing fold on itself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say fine. I'm going to go and fix it. Cancel that. Go to that spine. You can't just randomly put anything you want thinking that it's going to do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move these things so that that tendency of making a fold on itself goes away. Something, maybe something like that. Exit. Now let's try it now. So we go to Adaptive Sweep. The guide is already picked because it was orange to begin with, and then the sketch is this. Great, and then preview. There we are. Okay, now you might say, well, what's the big deal about this adaptive sweep? What did I do that adapts? Here's the situation. So suppose I go on this curve, on this guide, make some points. So let's do that. So for example, point on a curve, this curve, this is my first point over there. I did that. Okay, this to another point, another point, another point on this curve. Let's say there. Say okay, and let's do one more. Another point on this curve. Yeah, let's say there, and we say okay. Now, if you go to the adaptive sweep, you notice that there are several tabs here. On the section, there's only one section that I have because I just made this first section. I made it. Now notice that you can go and select these points. For example, let me go ahead and oh, I just noticed something. I was not able to pick these lines, pick these points, right? You know why? Because these are after the adaptive sweep. So it doesn't even see these. Now you can go and do this thing above the adaptive sweep if you want, or you can cheat and select these things and say all of them, Control, Shift, where's that? Where's the Shift? This, right click, go there, reorder, put it after the sketch 2. See, right now, these points are before the adaptive sweep, and therefore I will be able to pick them. So let's go ahead and do that. We go to our adaptive sweep. Okay, see that? Now you can go pick it. Terrible. If you're not careful, these points are created after adaptive sweep, you can't pick it. But here, look, I select this. Notice that the second section, right there, you can see that. A second section has been created. Let's do another one. Here it is. A second section, third section has been created. Go pick it again. The fourth section. Now you might say, okay, so what? Well, you can go to any one of these sections. For example, you go to section 2, select the parameters. These are the dimensions, the original dimensions. You don't want it. For example, you may want to make this thing smaller. How about 20? You can't just randomly go and put numbers there. And how about this fellow? I make it maybe 50. Okay? You want to see it? There. See? This is 20, this is 50. Now you want to go to change something else? Go back here, section 3. On the parameters, maybe you want to make this thing 50. And this one, 40. You want to see it? Right there. And maybe the last one, if you don't want to do anything to it, you leave it the way it is. It's entirely up to you. Okay, and then we say, okay, whoops. Okay, now, why am I not seeing it? Because this sketch is underlined. You know why it's underlined? Because I move these things right after sketch 2. But if you put the cursor here, right click, work, define in work object, there we are. There we are. This surface or this curve was swept along that guide, and you were able to control the shape of it by these things. Now, one last thing before I go, before I stop doing anything. If you double click on this, there is this tab here. Let me see if I can find it. If you go to the uh, relimitation, and notice that it stopped before the end of the spine. If I say, don't stop at the end, go all the way to the end, or maybe the other one, it'll go all the way to the end. Okay? So that's the purpose of these relimited on start and relimited at end condition. Okay, I want to go all the way to the end, etc. That's that, folks. As I pointed out in class, these are considered to be blend, multi-section surfaces, fill to some extent, and this sweep and adaptive sweep are the more advanced ways of creating surfaces. That's pretty much it. Have fun.